So my name's Carl Benfield. I run a little company called Venttman UK. We are responsible for bringing in a product that's made in Lithuania in the air conditioning industry, and we distribute it in the UK. We're also branching out into wider air conditioning products to service air conditioning installers in the air conditioning and ventilation installers in the UK with technical engineering support and excellence. We're looking to scale up quite rapidly. By the end of this year, we want to be doing about 1 million. By the end of the year after, something more like 3 million, because the product that we've got, the offering that we've got, is very scalable. It's just a question of trying to, of getting there without burning out, running out of cash. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. I mean, with any growing company, you're always going to run into cash flow holes, especially as you start to offer credit to clients. So whilst, we've got a good income stream, there are inevitably pitfalls we've got to watch out for, especially when paying our suppliers. Well, I like the offering. I'm never worried about using people remotely, provided that they're the right people, with good management and good people skills. People should want to work for a company wherever they are. So this whole thing about, we don't want people to work from home anymore, it's just nonsense, because if you've got good people, they'll work well from anywhere. So the fact that you were doing this offering where I could see straight away what your added value was, and that's really important to me. It's not just, you're not just like taking a slice of action for doing nothing. You're actually finding people, vetting them, doing the whole recruitment process, and then your benefit is in the long-term relationship, which obviously serves two functions. Firstly, it keeps costs down for us, and then secondly, your interest is in making sure this relationship works long term. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. So I know that you want to give me the right person, and I know that you want that person to continue to be successful, and then you get the good stuff further down the line. Okay, so the role is a technical sales agent or technical sales engineer. So it needs to be someone who can speak to installers particularly, but also consulting engineers and people like that. But speak to the installers on the ground to help them understand what how to specify the product, to help them create a quote. So we're basically we're taking all the effort away from the installer, and we're giving them something that they can take to their client and say, this is what it's going to be, this is what we need. So it's to help, it's to reduce the thinking of our clients and to give them confidence that, because what we sell is quite expensive, is to give them confidence that what we're selling is genuinely a good thing, that's genuinely well engineered, and it's genuinely well designed. So yeah, doing that from the Philippines, it was like, yeah, I can see that there might be people available to do that. But when we actually got into the business of interviewing, it was clear actually this is something that could work really well. Yeah, I did. I went through Indeed and spoke to a number of people. I have recruited through Indeed before, but not for this type of role. And when I tried to find people who were via Indeed, it was clear that a lot of them are already out there, or the technical people, the installers, are already out there installing and earning really good money doing it. So what I wanted to pay, I'm not a cheapskate by any means, but there's only so much you can.
There's a budget.
In the budget, yeah, especially when we're bootstrapping. So I, so I tried to do that. The kind of people I got a number of salespeople who were interested, but they didn't have the right technical background, and that for what we're doing, it didn't give me confidence that they were going to sell the product appropriately. Yeah, well, based on my experience in the UK, I wasn't sure you were going to be able to find anybody. You did, which is good. And what you tend to find in this kind of, well, what you tend to find is you find someone who's technically good, but they're hopeless at sales, or you find someone who's good at sales and they're hopeless technically. And finding something that is both those roles, it is genuinely quite difficult. So I think you did well to get someone to fill that role. Yeah, I thought it's probably one of the big, other than understanding what your business model is, which is very clear. I think that was probably one of the best parts about the whole process was you've clearly got very well defined processes you've clearly got very well-defined roles within the company so that everyone knows what they're doing. I felt completely well briefed that, what was happening, when, what the timescales were. And then once we'd gone through the recruitment process, what I particularly found, and this goes back to my comment about you needing the long-term relationship, it was clear that you wanted to know s- what the next thing for me was. So with this particular individual that we recruited, what was the reach that we could do with them, rather than, okay, they're in role, they're doing their job, fine, we'll leave them alone. No, it's actually, how can we stretch that more? How can we get more out of this person? And as well as making sure that the individual felt well looked after and part of the team, which is important to me as well, frankly. The main role that we wanted to do initially was quoting, and he got on board that very quickly. One of the other team members briefed him on how to do that. I put a little bit of effort into that as well. But he was able to come up to speed very quickly with that. And he's been doing, really quite large quotes with confidence, but still getting back to just when he's not sure about something, just double checking and making sure that, nothing goes out without him being completely happy with it. He's also he's doing some technical studies of wider, other products that we can bring on board. So the effect of all, sorry, and he's also contacting clients directly, talking things through on the phone with them, because we've got VoIP phones and we can do that. And so, the slight American accent that you get with the Philippines is not an issue, because most of the installers we deal with are multicultural anyway. And so he's adding value in a number of different areas. The the effect of that is it's released me to think about wider company issues and, the issues we're having with expansion and with suppliers and relationships, all that kind of stuff. I'm not having to be down in the weeds of the day-to-day quoting and selling. That's all kind of doing its thing now. So that's been a real, yeah, kind of, the weight of all that has gone. I would say in a week, I would probably get at least 10 to 20 hours back.
Wow.
Yes.
Like literally half your time.
Well, clearly, if you need someone on the ground, if you absolutely need someone on the ground, this is not going to work for you. But there's a mitigation for that. So I've got Wiz in the Philippines doing the quoting and doing a lot of relational stuff with the clients. I'm actually tomorrow going down to Bedford to meet up with a client, big projects, and I think that's about 15 to 20,000 pounds worth of project. And I'm whizzing down there because it makes sense to do that for that kind of size. And Wiz has done all the background work. I can go down and just glad hand them really, and make sure, and make them feel, obviously I'll read into the work that Wiz has done. So that allows me to do some of that work. But going back to the question, who wouldn't this suit? If there was a very, very specific in-country or in UK technical issue, it might be a longer lead time. So for instance, with air conditioning, there are certain things that apply to the UK market. But in our case, that's not difficult to pick up quite quickly. But there may be industries where there's a specialist knowledge that you need, and you need to have done years in it. I think that's probably quite a rare experience there. Other than absolutely having to have someone on the ground, I don't think I think there's lots of places you could use it. Lots of people. I think I really like the way that the cost is known. It's, we don't have all the additional national insurance and pensions, all that kind of stuff. Not that I'm averse to paying all that, but it just keeps that cost down a little bit more. We're not worried about the employment tribunal law and all that kind of stuff. Not that I'm very pro all that kind of stuff. I'm not sort of like some monster. It just means you don't have to worry about it. It's kind of dealt with. And yeah, so people who want a little bit of flexibility, who are, yeah, and obviously I'm thinking as a small business at the moment, a small growing business that's bootstrapping, but I suspect there's quite a few larger companies out there who benefit as well, and who don't want to spend the kind of the effort hunting around overseas looking for this when the system's already there. I think the main thing is it feels like you genuinely want my company to succeed, and that's actually quite a relief because most people out there are just wanting to take your dime.